What does it mean to say this is hereditary? When do you actually have something that you're predisposed for, or you feel like you're predisposed for because it's in your genes? And when instead is it actually your lifestyle? Too many times I hear health professionals talk about something that somebody has in their genes. Well, you've got that because, it just must be genetics. Well, there's actually some rhyme or reason to that. And it falls under the heading of what they call epigenetics. A quick hit today on the Personalized Fitness Podcast. Good day and welcome to the Personalized Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Garrett Williamson, president of Personalized Fitness. Thank you so much for joining me today on this quick hit topic. Now, I am going to do a much deeper dive into this subject because I honestly believe that it is it's causing a lot of problems, a lot of confusion out there. Yet again, the reason for the podcast, dispelling the myths of health, fitness, and wellness. This is a big one, and I'm really surprised that I have not done a podcast on this before. But something I was talking about a few podcasts ago brought this up, and I really wanted to get a little bit of information out on it, which is why we're doing a quick hit today. But if you're interested in more information on this, I do have another podcast coming up, but if you have any questions about this one, please feel free to call me at area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can also reach me at my email address, which is Garrett, Garrett, at personaledgefitness.com. That is also our website and our Facebook page. Hit me up on Twitter at TeamPE. Now, like I say, I'm gonna do a quick hit on this, but a few weeks ago I did a podcast on sarcopenic obesity, and talked about the thin fat. And I hope you caught that because it's a real problem that we have. Believe it or not, it's killing a lot of our seniors. And as I was doing that, I started talking about it. Of course, I got very passionate about it. You're going to hear a little bit of that today. About some thinking about things that clients had told me in the past and things that I battle with that they attribute to genes or attribute to a lifestyle or what have you, and it's just something they've always done it that way or what have you, and their mama ate this way or their daddy did these things and they lived to this X number of age and they feel that that's the right thing to do, and it's a lot of misunderstandings. And the one that I run into a lot is that healthcare professionals, whether it's a personal trainer all the way up to physicians, will have somebody that's in great shape, and this is in sarcopenic obesity. We see this a lot. That they come out with this incredible BMI number, and y'all know how I feel about BMI. It's not worth anything. You shouldn't pay attention to BMI. And their BMI is wonderful, and they're supposedly in good shape because they're thin, but they have high blood pressure, and many times their physician will say, "Well, did your mom or daddy have it?" "Yes." "Well, that's just in your genes. You just have it. That's all there is to it." Turns out the person's actually obese, so they've never measured their body fat. It's something that we fall back on. I actually had the beliefs about genes and the beliefs about hereditary problems it can go overboard. I've used this example before, but I literally had a client tell me one time that their fat was hereditary, and I said, "Okay, I'll bite. What do you mean your fat is hereditary?" He literally pointed at his substantial gut and said, "Well, my daddy had all his right here too." I kid you not, that actually happened. And he was serious. He was dead serious that his fat was hereditary, and that is an extreme example. But I feel too many times people think, I'm doing everything I can. I'm coming to see. I'm working out at Personal Edge. I'm eating right and whatever. But I've got this gene about that has to do with high blood pressure. I've got it in my family, and it's the thought process there is they feel like it's an inevitability. No matter what, I'm going to get heart disease. No matter what, I'm going to have high blood pressure. No matter what, I'm going to have cancer, whatever it may be. Even though they're trying to do everything they can, they're constantly thinking, okay, it's there, I'm going to have it. And that's not true. What this deals with is something that, again, I'm going to touch on this today. We're going to go much deeper into this much later. But I wanted to get out some information about what they call, epigenetics. There was a great article, an interview done with Dr. Laura Zimmerman. She's the medical director of Rush University Prevention Center, and she talks about epigenetics, or where your genes run into your lifestyle. And epigenetics, briefly put, is you may have a gene in there that affects one of these health conditions: Alzheimer's, cancer, heart disease, high blood pressure, whatever, and many other things too. You may have that gene. Boom! It's in your body. You may have it. That's quite possible. And if you look through your family history, that could be part of it. That could be part of it. You may see it across your family history, and so you may have that gene. And I don't know as much about genetics as I should know or like to know, but they may be able to actually identify that gene. I'm sure, and I know in some cases they can. But let's say you've got it. Well, epigenetics talks about, okay, though you have it does not mean you're actually going to get the condition. In fact, the gene is there, but it has to be turned on or turned off. And so it's not going to work unless you do something in your lifestyle that's going to turn it on. Not only is it many times is it one thing that actually can turn that gene on. Most times it's several factors. It's several things that you have to go through, they have to do to turn that gene on to actually make you have heart disease. I shouldn't say make you have, but I get that gene to fire up and work towards creating heart disease or Alzheimer's or what have you. And so those things that you do or don't do to turn it on are lifestyle. That's where smoking comes into play. That's where exercise comes into play. That's where your nutrition comes into play. And too many times, those things that I'm talking about, nutrition, your exercise, your smoking, your drinking, whatever it may be, those things are not only your lifestyle, but those are affected by your family lifestyle history. That's not hereditary. That is, we've always had every celebration that we do, every happy moment, every time we spend is spent overeating. That's not hereditary. That's a lifestyle choice. That's a lifestyle choice you can change. When you've got over 72% of the adult population does not drink enough water. When you've got over 46% of the population doesn't eat enough protein. When you've got over a huge amount, only 1% of America works out regularly. And exercise to a lot of people means just move 30 minutes most days a week. In fact, the National Institute of Health recommends just the bare minimum of anything that can be closely identified as exercise. It doesn't even make you live as long as you can, because it doesn't recommend full body resistance training and what have you. When you have all these limitations in there, you add that kind of lifestyle, general lifestyle that folks have, to these potential genes that you have in your body. Yeah, you can cause them to activate. But just because you may or may not have that in your genes, and I'm going to talk about this later, but I'll show you where many times we say that just because it happens in our family, but it's really not in our genes. But just because you may have that in your genes does not mean you're predisposed for it by any means. By any means. So if you were to lead the right type of lifestyle, you can avoid getting these things. So don't fall back on that. Don't use that as a crutch. Don't use that as an excuse. If you have any other questions about this, because I'm going to do a much deeper dive, and it's a big subject, but I felt compelled to talk about it today because we did touch on something like this when I talked about sarcopenic obesity. But if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can also contact me at Garrett, Garrett, at personaledgefitness.com, which is also our website and Facebook page. Hit me up on Twitter at TeamPE if you want to contact me that way. Epigenetics, heredity versus lifestyle. Folks, it comes right down to it. There's one that we can affect. There's one that we definitely can change. There's one that we can control. And most likely, as we're seeing as time goes by, That one, lifestyle, is the one that really makes all the decisions. And at Personal Edge here, we do everything to help you improve your lifestyle in order for you to reach your level of wellness. Thank you so much for joining me today.